Scholars, welcome back to the counselor's office. You know what's funny? Someone made a comment. Why do you call, you're the Mr. Gaming counselor. Why are you calling people scholars? Shouldn't you be calling us gamers or calling people gamers? And if we're scholars, why do we need you? If you ever went to any like college or any like higher degree, one of the things that they tell you is that you, no matter how much, just because you have a nice, pretty piece of paper that says, you know, bachelor's, associates, master's or PhD, you are always learning. Or at least the good professors and good teachers will tell you, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. There's always something new, something fresh. Same with my field where I work at. Even heck, psychology in general, there's always new things popping up, new studies, new research, new findings. There's always new. And if you can conclude that there's nothing left to learn, you have what's called a fixed mindset. You people who don't, and a good example is a good portion of the Destiny community has a fixed mindset where they're not willing to listen to criticism. They're not willing to listen to feedback or anything about what's wrong with the game or maybe what's wrong with how Bungie's been handling things, because it impacts the status quo, which then directly impacts them because they don't want to change. They have a fixed mindset. They're not open-minded. They're not willing to see change. And you could cross-apply that argument also to people who don't like Armor 2.0 or, you know, buffs and nerfs. Like, you could apply that to a lot of things, right? But the general stance is people don't like criticism because they have a fixed mindset. And talking about criticism, we have Mr. Swetsicle with the title, Do People Really Think I Hate Destiny? We're going to watch this because a lot of people think that I hate Destiny, or at least that's the pro argument. If you give any kind of criticism or if you get passionate or upset about something that Bungie does, that just equates you hate Destiny. Let's see what he says about it.
Dude, I keep forgetting to pre-order the expansion.
Same! I've not pre-ordered yet.
I kind of waited up a little bit because I was like, I saw a bunch of other creators getting free keys for it, and I figured maybe, but I don't think I'm getting.
I'm sorry, you can't make those statements in the day and age where people are upset, content creators, especially with Destiny. You can't be like, yeah, I wasn't going to buy it because Bungie's giving out free keys to content creators. Again, reverting backwards to my previous video about why is the community hating like content creators? It's not the title, but essentially that it was just based on how people are upset and are going after content creators and more. Man, free keys? Wonder why? I just haven't bought it yet because I don't know, man. Like, I'll probably end up buying it. I'll probably end up flipping the bill, but I'm not gonna buy the big boy edition just because it's not worth it.
Getting one, so I think I'll probably just buy it soon.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm super hyped. Today, they just gifted me 50,000 silver. And today, I'm going to dangle all those purchases in front of your face so you can open your wallet and get Bungie your entire credit card limit. Congratulations, everybody. Are we ready for one new planet with barely any content? Wow!
Is that a clip? Is that a clip? Where'd that come from? Man, but if that ain't the truth, holy, that caught me off guard. Man, I've got to make some kind of Twitch, or not Twitch, but like chat, like for super chats. I need to make it to where it can be read out for YouTube or something. Because, man, I would love to hear that kind of stuff.
Wonder why they won't give you a code. I honestly have no idea.
No idea at all.
This was shot in front of a live studio audience at twitch.tv/Swetsicle.
Bro,
Nice.
Out of all the creators, do you guys think I talk the most shit?
I'm not like a true blue, like, haha, top, you know, I'm not in Sweatskill's level, like 41K, and this is just his second channel. By no means am I up there. But yes, I think Joker definitely is one of the, probably up there on the level of me when it comes to, you know, shit talking Bungie. By the way, I don't always just nonstop shit talk. I actually do give criticism, fair criticism and feedback, right? Like, but I'm not going to stop shit talking where it's merited as well.
Be honest. Yes. No. I've always wondered that. I know I'm up there for sure. It's like without a doubt. Do I even have to talk shit? Yeah, like I definitely talk shit.
I know we're like 6 minutes in and I just can't realize I'm pre-recording this tomorrow. Americans, happy 4th of July. I hope you enjoy your 4th of July. Have a great one. I know this is really out of the blue, but enjoy. Blow up crap. I'm going to be out in the countryside, skeet shooting, blown up fireworks, hitting the grill in the Barbie, brother. Heck yeah, brother. We're going to be out there in the countryside, shooting skates on a shotgun. Yeah, brother. Anyways, have a good 4th of July. And if you're not American, have a good day.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't, because I definitely do. It's fun to talk shit sometimes.
Yeah. I think there's times where American
talking shit and just being honest.
Yep. Bingo. That is a key point. Sometimes people take shit talking as shit talking. Oh my God. But release the beast. But there's times where you're just being honest. Like I keep saying, like, you're rage baiting. You know, it's not rage bait if it's true.
No, I wouldn't consider any game journalist a creator, really. Game journalists literally just do that so people will click on their fucking articles.
Yeah.
Like, YouTube creators are guilty of that too, but game journalists are by far worse.
Which is why a lot of people are always upset when they click on it and it has nothing to do with the title.
Dropped in some aspect. What do you mean?
I wonder why he's doing Last Wish, by the way. Like, what's the point of doing Last Wish?
I definitely am guilty of complaining for the sake of complaining sometimes, but it doesn't come from like a place of malice most times. It's usually just being passionate about something I actually care about.
Yeah, like I think a couple days ago I did a video where I just absolutely just shit on certain content creators and I shit on the idea of it. And it wasn't like there was general feedback there, but then it took a turn to just straight shit talking. Like you can tell when I am getting passionate and more emotional, that's usually where it turns into shit talking. But when I'm calm and logical and I give feedback, and yeah, it may come off as like very hypercritical, but it's still true. Even when I'm shit talking and I'm going off, it's still true. Like I got a lot of people that like it was a mini crash out. The people were like, yes, preach. And that's the reality. People don't want this little box presented in a way that won't upset Bungie. People want the raw truth. They let it out, King. Queen, let it out. That's what they want. But no, that's not usually my style, is to just straight crash out every video. I like to present with some logical arguments and give feedback.
So it doesn't excuse it, but just to throw out there, like, why, no. I guess.
No, like...
Because I'm like a firm believer of like, if you really care about something, you're going to want to give like the best and most optimal feedback so it can be the best that it can be rather than holding back.
Yep, exactly. I'm not going to sit there and get water down how I feel and how I think and what's the problem. I'm going to give it to you raw, and I'm going to not shit talking, but also when I'm brutally honest and I give very specific, and I roll out like a laundry mat of like criticisms, like what's wrong, what doesn't work. And people don't like that. They don't like the laundry mat of what's wrong, because then they're like, okay, then you're never happy. But it's not true. I spent an entire season playing with swords using Stronghold was a fun build. I love Grandmasters, even though they have becoming increasingly easy. I still enjoy doing Grandmasters, even though they're going away. Which, God dang it. Let's kill the things that I love to do. Yay.
And that applies for anything. I don't know. It just, like, it bums me out that, like, I feel like I am more negative than positive, but, like, I don't know, like, is there a justification for that? I guess.
I think so. Here's the reality. People don't like negativity, but when there's not a lot of positivity to talk about, that's the problem, right? People live in this idea that people only want to always live in a bubble of net criticism. Like, a perfect example. I was literally glazing the balls of Borderlands 4 and everything that they were doing right. And of course, I called out Randy being a stupid idiot, but I was glazing the balls of that game. I want to be positive. I want to be psyched. I want to just dive into and tell you guys what are some of the greatest things possible, right? Not everyone wants to be negative Nelly. And here's the reality. People are like, oh, people only ever want to see negativity. People are more attracted to negativity when it matches the vibe of the community. There's a reason why people watch more negative stuff of Destiny than positive, and why less people care about builds and crap like that. It's because no one really cares about the game anymore as much because Bungie doesn't listen to people. Like, there's a lot of reasons, but the reason why I guarantee if Destiny was in a better space, people would be more positive. People would be more focusing on the good stuff, what Bungie's doing. But there has been a noticeable trend ever since Lightfall. It's like knocking down the dominoes. Yes, the community has been negative, especially after the sunsetting. Like, they finally got on good graces from Witch Queen and they were going in the right direction. And then Lightfall just knocked it away. I think Lightfall was like the domino that was holding things up. And it's just gone down there. Then Marathon was announced. And then there was like a brief moment where the game was doing hot. Into the Light and the Final Shape. And then after that, with episodes and everything, woo! Overall, the community, let's be honest, is negative because the situation with Destiny is overwhelmingly just negative. I mean, look at their free event. Was even as exciting and was met with immediately backlash because Bungie decided to be anti-gamer, anti-fun, and focused on, hey, how can we build artificial retention instead of actually making an event for our community? Like, it's a night and day difference from Into the Light, where it was all about over delivery. That's the best way to explain it. Into the Light felt like over delivery, like it was for the gamers. Whereas Rights of the Nine was, here's some padded time. We don't expect us to over deliver.
Yes. Because I think a lot of people have been unhappy with certain changes that have been made, but I don't know. Being constantly stuck in a negative feedback loop does not feel very good.
It doesn't. No one wants to keep playing a game and be negative about it. I don't know who in their right mind, now they exist, by the way, but who in their right mind and just wants to continue to be negative? We want the game to improve, which is why we give criticism. And it's a good game. Like, if Destiny was like Anthem, it would have never lasted, just like Anthem isn't. And I say isn't because they're actually shutting down the servers for Anthem now, which I need to play it. I bought it for like $10 on a disc. I need to play that before they shut it down.
Do you guys think it's a thing? Like, I don't know. I believe this for some people, but I feel like people get to a point where they just like stop trying to hold people or companies to a higher standard.
Yes! The yes men, the Bungie shills, the ball fondlers.
It really aggravates me.
It is so annoying.
Once you set a bar, you don't want to lower it.
And I think a perfect example of why I try to hold Bungie accountable, and especially with my channel, a perfect example is EA. They shut down the crew. They're sunsetting Anthem servers. So even if they're not supporting it, they're shutting it down. And you can't just play by yourself. You can't just like, I want to play solo. Like they're shutting the servers. It is a dead game. Which, by the way, if you're in the EU, go support Stop Killing Games. Go support them. Fuck billion-dollar companies. But it's stuff like that's the kind of crap I fight against. That's the kind of stuff that I stand against. And Bungie is notorious for sunsetting. And they're doing it again with soft sunsetting. Like, let's not act like these companies deserve your glazing, because they don't. Certain companies do, like Larian. The Power World developers, I haven't played Power World in years, but they literally tried to make a game for the gamers. It's just that Nintendo is a shitbag company that's trying to punish them for that. Yeah, we can go perfect examples of why you need to hold billion-dollar companies accountable, because they will use you like a doormat. And for some reason, the Destiny community, there's a bunch of people who are willingly letting a billion-dollar company use their face as a doormat and their anus as a blowhole.
Especially when you're paying for something, right? Like you're paying for a product, like, and price only continues to increase. You're gonna expect more.
Yep.
Or if you're paying the same price and you get less, it's like, ooh.
Which is pretty much what we're getting now with Destiny.
Over delivery.
Yep, over delivery. There it is.
Yeah, I guess the reason I asked is like I saw a comment on the recent video is like somebody was saying like somebody was asking why I don't move on from Destiny and why I don't move on from Destiny.
He died.
It's obvious that I like hate the game.
Ah, yep,
like,
there it is.
People really under the assumption that I hate the game.
Yep, there it is. Man, why don't you just move on? You hate the game. I'm gonna let him talk about his side, and I'll give you mine.
Do you guys believe that? Like, genuine question, all memes aside.
Oh, red borders. He's farming red borders.
There's my last crafted weapon.
I kind of wish you would cut.
I think people get it confused. I don't hate the game. I hate what the corporate side of the company has done with the game, but I don't hate the game. I feel like those are two entirely different things.
Yep. The way I put it is I like the car, I hate the driver. I just don't like Bungie. I don't like him. I think there probably are some wonderful developers out there. Unfortunately, they are the yes men for their own company. I mean, they're not going to fight against the ones that make the decisions. And unfortunately, they encompass all of Bungie. Like, it doesn't matter if there's developers that want to, like, they can have I want to make this. Doesn't matter if you're that kind of person. You work for a company that the leaders have this specific plan, and that's it. Like, I'm sorry. I just don't care about the company, Bungie, at all. I have no empathy. I have no sympathy. I have nothing. I mean, I'm sure you can feel bad for the individual people, but I've said it time and time again. If you're in a bad situation where you're being disrespected and it's a toxic work environment, leave. I'm sorry. I have no empathy for someone who's just stuck there. Unless you are literally held with a gun or a hostage or you're being kidnapped. Like, if it's that toxic of a relationship where you have like Stockholm syndrome, you need to go see a therapist. And I know people are like, well, people got to pay bills. Like, I don't know. I've never had trouble finding work somewhere. Sure, it may not be the job you want to do. Sure. You want to do game development. Sure. I think now's the time to jump ship from Bungie before they kill all their reputation. But I think your skill set should speak for itself. I mean, you're in a very volatile, Microsoft just did layoffs. You're in a very volatile field. So you took the risk to get employed there. Just like in education, it's also slightly volatile. Not necessarily whether I can lose my job. It's just what I'm told I can do and can't do, right? You got, we're not getting into politics, but essentially based on American politics, they decide, well, you have to do this, this, and this. You can no longer do this. I have to abide by that, which whether that's good or bad, at least I can adapt to those versus a just absolute toxic work environment where people are literally making my life hell. You should move on, right? That's why I don't have much empathy for developers. You are making that active choice to stay in a company that the leaders do not respect you nor the gamers.
That people get confused and they don't understand the difference.
Yeah, shit on the company, like the game. Dislike some of the changes that they're doing.
Does that make sense? Easiest way to explain it is showing how frustrated we are with how things are being run. That's more of where it comes from. Like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, there are things about the game that I hate, but I feel like that's natural. If I loved everything about this game,
yeah,
like, I would be like Mega Glazer Deluxe 9000, which would be obvious, but...
That's about to be a Borderlands.
Like, it ties in with my core philosophy of, like, we have moved into a society that is an all-in or all-out mentality. It's either you're all about something or you're all out.
Yep.
And I don't understand why people think there's no middle ground nowadays. It's like you can't have different points. It's all or nothing, bro.
You either love Destiny or you hate it. There is no criticism. Also, you could also apply this, to be fair. You could apply this if you're not if you are, and to be fair, if you're not actively criticizing Bungie constantly, you're also a Bungie shill. And I've seen this in my own videos where I've said, yes, I like this. This is great. I think Into the Light, I remember getting so many comments about how I glazed Into the Light, and people were saying that you call me a Bungie shill, a ball fondler. I can't believe you're sucking the D of Bungie. And I'm like, they did something right. My very specific words were, they're walking, they're doing good into the light. Now we need to start running, right? And I said I'm not going to glaze them more than that. I'm not going to give props for that. You're here. We need to start running, and they ran backwards since then, obviously. But I like I said, I'm fair. There are definitely content creators and people who do criticize heavily, but also give positive feedback. And like, hey, they glaze some things. You're never going to satisfy everyone. You're never going to satisfy everyone in the community, because the moment that you stand against the masses or the most upset, you've got a little bit of a target on your back. I'm just appreciative that I have tested the waters multiple times in my community, that if I say something that they don't agree with, like I've talked about my thoughts on RNG versus crafting, and they've disagreed with me, but we've had a healthy conversation, and they don't crucify me for it. We've talked about how I like the armor changes. I like the tier system. I like all that. And yet I still can recognize they don't like it, and they don't crucify me for liking it. Right. It's all about being willing to have a conversation and see different viewpoints. And I think that people can do that. There's just a lot of problem where you see content creators that are the opposite, where people give feedback and they get shut down. Those people get shut down, and like the whole argument. I'm not going to name names. I'm trying not to be as toxic and start drama. But you've got content creators saying that it's not a big deal, that there's less. We're not getting a strike, and like if that's your biggest, like essentially making it demeaning the argument of less content, and to just, oh, there's not a strike, so you're throwing a fit, or comparing things to Witch Queen or Rise and Iron, like, oh, you're just throwing a fit. People, and it diminishes some real criticism and fair feedback, and it's trying to diminish people's frustration. You don't have to agree with them, but it seems like there's a narrative that they're trying to push that you're wrong, but since they're content creators, they're right. And I never try to directly do that. Like, sure, I'll troll and shit talk people in the comment section. They're just being assholes or just fundamentally incorrect. But generally, like, I have concluded arguments by saying, you know what? We can agree to disagree, because I'm not going to sit there and try to fight people and convince people who have their mind concluded that, yeah, things are great. If you think things are great for you. Pop off. It's just like the whole thing I keep talking about, like Halo 4. I know I'm in the minority. I know that I people don't like Halo 4. I love the multiplayer. I love the loadouts. And man, I enjoyed customization. It was an assassination, so I loved all of it. And I know I'm the minority, but I'm not sitting trying to change people's mind. And that's how I respect people in the comment section, where they can disagree, but they're not trying to diminish my arguments or my points, or try to convince me otherwise, that I'm wrong or something like that. And they're also respectful, and they're not being scummy douchebags. Like, if you're gonna be a scummy douchebag, expect me to troll you and farm you for the algorithm. Like, I do that a lot. But I'm not out here in the business to just shit on Destiny and then shit on anyone who disagrees with me. Like, if you try to make a gotcha or insincere argument and you know what you're doing, then I'm going to call you out, right? But generally, there's been a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine. I think that's fair. But I just know that when I am passionate or I'm getting criticism, it's not because I hate Destiny. Just like Sweat he admits he shit talks too, but he's not doing it out of the place of malice. It's not like, I hate this game, I hate it. No, he loves it. He has history with it. Like, it's just baffling.
What do I hate about the game specifically? I guess I'll try and keep it to like big points. Is that
okay?
Like,
Let's see what your points are. See if we match.
Sad cat. We're gonna do this Crota checkpoint here.
Man, I wish, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is a side comment. I wish I had a community that, like, Destiny was doing good, and I had a large community that I could just get invited to checkpoints and just play with my community, random people. Like, that's the dream, right? The dream is that Destiny fix itself and I can have a community that is in love with Destiny and I can just play with them. Unfortunately, we don't live in that time.
1 second. I'm thinking. Biggest thing for me is hypocrisy. When people went after Activision for how bad the microtransactions were with Activision, they left Activision and the microtransactions got worse. And nobody said shit. People wanted a scapegoat and they didn't keep their consistency in criticism. That is one thing I hate, and that's more community side than game side.
Guys, we can't believe Activision would do this. Bungie, here, have my money. Like that, it is night and day. Like, if I guarantee you, if Activision tried to put Star Wars back in the day, the community would have crucified them. But people here are like, yes, Bungie, hop off, Queen. Like, seriously? Yikes.
Secondly is they took all their best people off of the game to go work on Marathon, and look how that's going. I just think the corporate side of the game has turned this game into a cash cow, and they don't give a shit about it anymore. The lower level devs do care a lot, and that is very obvious.
Yep.
But they have no control over this game whatsoever. And that's an issue.
Exactly.
And I think the corporate side of the game, the corporate side of the company will be the demise of the game if it's not fixed. So.
Exactly.
That's just me being completely honest.
I absolutely agree. I call it the Fortnite-ification of Destiny. Like, we just saw some previews of armor we're getting. Only one from Trials looked good, whereas the rest look worse than the Eververse store armor we're getting. Like, we have what looked like actual raid gear, like Vex raid gear, and then you have like you just have Crucible and just the campaign armor, and you're like, bro, Why? It is so obvious how little effort Bungie puts into paid, or like, what's funny is the campaign is paid, but non-paid armor versus actual paid. You're like, brother. By the way, you have to pay the expansion to play Trials too. So for those that are thinking, Trials is not paid, it is. So when you pay for the expansion, you're getting Trials, and it's probably one of the few paid Trials that you get like free. The Trials armor is the free armor that actually, or not free, the outside of the expansion itself, Trials, which you have to pay to get, is one of the few armor sets that looks good versus the actual in-store paid separate transmog. I said it.
And there's so much evidence to back that up. You can sit and glaze all you want if you want to, but like, there are a lot of good people that work at that company, but it's like a few bad actors that mess it up.
And unfortunately, the few bad actors are the ones that have power over everything.
Part of another thing is like, it's getting to a point where like refusal to make a new game kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because as Data always says, it's just more Destiny. I know they're making a lot of core changes to this next update, but
Destiny.
I've talked about this in so many videos.
I just want to say that you would think that people saying just more Destiny, that's, you think of a game you really like I'm going to say Halo 3. I'm imagining Halo 3, and they say, you're going to, instead of making a Halo Reach, right? Or ODST is what Bungie did. That we're going to make more Halo 3. We're going to do like map packs, maybe like downloadable DLC. We're going to do that, right? And we're going to take that approach. We're doing more Halo 3. I would be ecstatic. I would say, hell yeah. Or Halo 2. I know some people are like, Halo 2 is better than 3. I think you're wrong, but I like Halo 2, so I'm not going to sit there and fight you. We can agree that both 3 and 2 are great games. I think having more of something, like another example would be Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate. Telling those fans and people who love those games, like, we're just going to make more of that. Hell yeah, do it. Like, who wouldn't like that? The problem is the more Destiny that we're getting is the minimal viable product version. If you told me we're getting more Witch Queen, or we're getting, half of the final shape, because obviously the final shape was ramped up to a level that they're not going to be able to feasibly do, but we're getting half of those great DLCs, those expansions, I think people would be okay with just more Destiny. The big problem that people did not like was the more Destiny of seasons, which were literally the copy pasta, same thing, season after season after season after season that you had to pay for and also left, right? All that was sunsetted, and that also upset people. Like, you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're asking people to pay for it. You're removing it. You pay for it, remove it, pay for it, remove it. Like, that is the aspect of the more Destiny no one wants. No one enjoyed. Okay, not one. There's like little Timmy and Joe over there. We're like, yeah, I love that. But overwhelmingly, the community didn't like that. But if we got more of Witch Queen, and I know some people don't like the Witch Queen, more have half the final shape. Like, I think Destiny would be in a good spot. I would be okay with more Destiny. I'm not okay with more of the minimal viable product Destiny, the cash grab Destiny. I'm not okay with more MTX, less quality. I want more delivery at this point in the game than under delivery, because we know they don't want to do over delivery.
It's like, I could pull up the just for quick example, I'll pull up the paint here real quick. Hold on.
Oh, pull up the paint. We love paint. We love paint. It's all about the paint life. Paint.
So you have the different buckets of the game, right? You have strikes, PvP, gambit, raids, dungeons.
You know what's funny is that these right here already being soft sunset by Bungie. Like they will be in the game, but they're not going to give you the same rewards they are now. Like they're going to be very unrewarding.
Whatever, right? The problem is like they just keep adding more buckets, and it's like, how do you balance all these things? Like in one big update, maybe you handle 2 of these things, and then like 3 more things to balance / problems arise. It's an incontrollable cycle.
See, what he doesn't realize is Bungie's response to that is the portal, where they can neglect 90% of the game and hide it because they just want you to look at the portal instead. Guys, they don't exist. Secrets. The rest of the game is a secret.
You know, it's like, I guess the kind of way I would describe it is like, imagine you're a manager for a McDonald's or something, right?
With the fries in the bag.
First, you start off with 3 employees, no big deal, right? Like you can cover 3 employees, make sure they're doing their Burger King, sure.
Yeah, Burger King.
Yes, thank you.
How about Arby's?
You're making sure they do their job. But the more buckets or the more employees that you add, the more you have to manage, and it just gets to a point where it's uncontrollable. And the only solution is to either remove these buckets or start a new game entirely. Because a new game entirely gives you a new playing field. So, just to keep that short and simple so I don't go to that rabbit hole for another 40 minutes. But, those are a lot of the big striking issues I see with the game. Aside from the obvious power creep, which I think a lot of that's going to be fixed in this next update. So, we'll see.
My general consensus is I like challenge, but I like power. I like the power fantasy. And I think a lot of people do enjoy Destiny. I get that people want the high end competitive. And I think that's what the modifier should do. Like, I think if you made it to where like a modifier, the higher modifiers you put, the better loot you get. I think that's great. And some of those modifiers could be like less ability regeneration, less damage on your weapon, stuff that makes it, or more like unique stuff. Like you use, ignitions do less damage or something. Like obviously those are power caps and people hate those, but that's why it's called a challenge, right? You choose to put that penalty on yourself with the modifiers, giving you the premium chance of getting the highest tier pinnacle of gear. Like for those that want it, there you go. I think the power fantasy, and maybe they will. Maybe you can go do a one raid, because we know the other raids are going to be in the portal. But the new raid, you're going to be able to, maximize its potential with like a bunch of positive loadouts, and you can go crazy. But I think in general, like, I don't know, like we'll have to see how much the tuning matters. Like modifying wise, like, can you get max? Can you play Mayhem in Destiny? Can you do that? Like in the PvE side, can you do Mayhem mode, right? Faster generation, super, just go have fun, like go balls to the wall. Like, I don't know. We'll have to wait. That's one of those things that we have to wait and see because we don't know everything.
Also the fact of like lying about things.
True.
Like
that's a big one.
Raids back that we had years ago that I paid for and not getting back. That kind of blows ass. So that's a smaller thing though, to be honest. Oh, great. My Elgato's messed up. Fantastic.
Oh, oh no.
Is there any other big point with Destiny? I'm trying to think. I think a big example of like not being able to keep up is their lack of PvP updates and Gambit updates.
Yeah.
You can say what you want about Gambit, but we all know Gambit could actually be a really... Okay, well, somebody's got to leave. Sorry. Does anybody not want to do Crota?
I want to do Crota. I like that trade.
Yeah, they just can't. They can't keep up. Like PvP could be good, but it's just it's an insurmountable task.
Yep.
And
PvP, like PvP can be really fun. And we know that Bungie well, the old Bungie could do PvP because of Halo 2 and 3. Even 1 wasn't that bad, but it was definitely, it was just mostly everyone's using the hand cannon. You know, if they could just dial in PvP, and I think a lot of the top tier players like Checkmate, because it felt more about gunplay and whatnot. If they could just dial it in, I think PvP can carry. And I think there is some correlation to PvP and the longevity of the game, because that was the same thing with Halo. Granted, Halo single player versus a live service that was like a looter shooter. Like there's a difference, right? But it's like Borderlands, where I think the live service experience for Borderlands is feeling better than Destiny currently. But unlike that, once you're done with Borderlands, there's no PvP. So you're kind of like, okay, I'm done. I'm moving on. Whereas Destiny with PvP, you can still use the new toys and play against other people and continue to play the game.
When people don't get their favorite part of everybody has a different favorite part of the game. You're either like one of those weird Gambit kids, or you're a PvP player, or you're a PvE player. Most people are PvE players, which I think they should obviously focus on more than anything else, because it drives the most traffic to the game. But
yep, I mean, it is the bread and butter of Destiny is PvE. That is the aspect of the game.
Only other big thing for me is communication. Their communication skills are horrible, and they only get good when the game gets bad.
Yep. Some of the best content we ever get, or best communication we get, is when their backs against the walls. And it is so baffling to me when you look at Warframe, and I know that's going to trigger people, but if you look at Warframe and the devs' communication, and I'm not going to have this argument of like, Digital Extremes has their own issues. They have their own problems. They have their community has their own gripes. But when it comes to communication, they are probably one of the best devs for communicating with their community. Not just the fact that they literally weekly stream and they do monthly dev updates, and they just also just admit when they're wrong and they backtrack on nerfs, and they generally are always mostly transparent, right? I'm glazing their nuts for a minute, but I know they have issues, right? There's not a single company that doesn't have issues, but the level of which they have it is a night and day difference compared to Bungie. And that's the problem that I have with Bungie, is that they're not player friendly.
And you can pull up multiple examples of that. But yeah, I'm someone who I hope for the best, plan for the worst. That's where I'm at. Yep. Because like, if you go back to,
I'm at this point where I expect the worst. And I know that sounds really negative, but if you expect the worst and I don't expect the worst of people, though I'm also a realist where I expect there's a possibility of the worst out of them. If you expect the worst of a billion-dollar company, when they do something right, it is a nice surprise. If you are constantly hoping for the best and you're constantly being disappointed, you will become the extreme side where you're just constantly distrusting. You're constantly you will become hateful, right? It transcends just criticism and feedback to just straight vehement hatred. That's why I prefer to be realistically pessimistic. And then when they do something good, I say, hell yeah. I think Into the Light was a perfect example, even though I did give criticism with the time gating, and I thought it was really stupid and it was dumb, right? Especially for a limited time event with FOMO. Yeah, I'm done yapping.
Like some of my videos like 4 or 5 years ago, I used to sit and like hope and pray for all these crazy new amazing systems and try and provide feedback for like things I think would be awesome for the game. But at a certain point, I just kind of realized that like Bungie's vision for the game, let me clarify, Bungie's corporate vision for the game
there you go. Yep.
only entails things that make them the most amount of profit.
Yep, that's it.
And I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can. And for me, that means kind of taking a step back from being more vocal about the game and just kind of doing my own thing. Not to say
I have resilience and I have a lot of backbone. Not to say that he doesn't. He doesn't have the personality type. I have the personality type that I will argue. I will go down with the Titanic arguing with the captain about why the ship is currently sinking and what he needs to do to improve the situation. Like, I'm that kind of person, and it's okay. Not everyone is like that, and that's fine. But I am, and I will continue to do so. Overall, the link will be down below for your beautiful faces. Like I said, I'm pre-recording this. It's a long video, so enjoy it on this fine 4th of July. Blow some firecrackers up. Blow up, put Pete's face on a car and, one of those rocket cars and send it to the moon, right? Man, I don't know, man. I have been enjoying playing other games, and I cannot wait for Borderlands to come out. Like, I'm ready for another looter shooter that I can sink my teeth into and not bang my head against the wall. I'm ready for some pro gamer games. I will give the Edge of Fate a shot because, 1, I have an addiction. 2, I have a community that now relies on me to see what I think, not just based on just opinion, but actually watch me experience the content and give some brutally honest review. And then they're able to take that information and see for themselves the actual what the product is and come to their own conclusion, which is what I hope people do. I don't hope people watch to the end and be like, don't buy this. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy it. And I want people to actually think about it and assess the risk reward. What is the value proposition that Bungie's offering for your money and time? And I want people to make that. And that's kind of what I'm here for at this point. Is just I'm here to give feedback, criticism, and insight, and whether you should buy something or not. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy either it's happy 4th of July or it's just happy day to you, whoever you are. Happy day. See ya. Bye-bye.